So is Enes Kanter not going to suck for the Celtics? He was certainly very good for the Blazers, as they found a way to have him not be exposed defensively up until about the Warriors series when the guy pretty much had no chance, but to defend him a little bit. There's not that many centers in the NBA who can actually play against the Warriors. I mean, we've seen Clint Capella reduced to nothing against them, and his athleticism and defensive abilities are way higher than Kanter's are. That being said, Enes Kanter deserves his reputation of being a bad defensive center. So how can the Celtics and Brad Stevens make that work? Well, the job that Stevens did hiding Isaiah Thomas defensively for a couple years was some masterful stuff. He also had a season in which, and by he I mean Stevens, managed to get the Celtics fourth in defense with Jared Sullinger and Isaiah Thomas playing a whole lot of minutes. So I would like to think he's going to figure out some ways to have Kanter just not get destroyed in the pick and roll all day. Whether that's having him back up, whether that's having him crowd the ball handler, whether that's trying weird things of Kanter defending like some wing player who you can dare to leave open. Some combination of all these things. I don't really know. The thing is, Stevens hasn't had to get super creative in terms of bailing out his center for the past couple years because it's been Al Horford who is like the third or fourth best defensive big in the league or something, so it's definitely going to be a challenge. I mean, the way that Horford could switch through a few positions, not all of them, but a few, can't really expect the same thing with Kanter at all. And you could hammer home everything about Kanter's defense, but even so, there's going to be times when there's a really good shooting point guard who gets a screen from their center and Kanter just simply doesn't step up. And it's going to be really annoying. So what you would hope for the Celtics is Robert Williams can have a hell of a second year. I mean, he didn't play much in his rookie season. He's definitely a lot better athletically than Kanter, and I think it's fair to think that his defensive potential is higher, but it is still just his second season, so for all we know, he might look like Damian Jones out there. There's also Daniel Tice, and maybe he could help out when Kanter can't do it, I don't know. We should also mention the amount of good defenders on the perimeter for the Celtics between Hayward, assuming he can move, and Smart, and I think Jalen's actually going to make a big leap defensively this year. I just think Kanter's going to have a lot of help, so when these guards are going at him in the pick and roll, I think there's going to be times when Jalen or Marcus are just going to do a good job initially, whether it's getting over the screen or denying the ball handler the pick, to where Kanter's not going to get killed every possession. This is also going to require Kemba to not be defending the really good point guards on other teams and stuff, and I think that'll happen when it needs to. Now, with all this being said, there's still going to be times when Kanter has to defend the rim or whatever, and he's not going to be able to do it, so there is all that. Now, to be fair, they signed him for $4.5 million for like 2 years, and the second year is a player option, so they didn't pay this guy way more than he's worth or anything. And while I do expect Kanter to start day one, I'm not expecting him to dominate the minutes at center. Like, I do think we're going to see a lot of minutes for Robert Williams and whoever the hell else. So, yeah, and I know Taco Fall has become a celebrity on Twitter. And, like, I hope the guy does well. I'm really not expecting much. So, there's that. Now we can talk about the things Kanter does well, which is offense and rebounding and all that stuff. So, yeah, he's not going to have the shooting that Horford had. I mean, Kanter can hit mid-range, but it's not the same thing. He's not going to be able to go off the dribble the way Horford could. He's not going to be able to do the handoff plays and get 5 assists a game and grab a rebound and bring it up in transition himself, and none of that's going to happen. But he's going to be a much better rebounder, and he's one of those dudes where when he's in the game, he can kind of make you the best rebounding team in the league. Because there's just those random games where he'll have like 17 rebounds and it's not even that big of a deal. He's constantly a threat on the offensive glass. And for what it's worth, the fact that he grabs a lot of defensive rebounds, it makes his defense a little bit better because at least you're just not giving up offensive boards to the opposing team. I would also expect him to be setting a lot of screens for mainly Kemba. We'll have to see how much Tatum is in the pick and roll, and I think Hayward will get a decent amount of screens as well. Marcus Smart as well, because his playmaking has gotten better throughout the years. And I expect Kanter to be able to finish those. Yeah, the pick and pops aren't going to be as much of a thing. But even so, between some floaters and then, of course, just finishing through contact, I think Kanter could help out. Teams are definitely going to have to pay attention to him when he's rolling to the basket. So overall, I'll say I think Kanter is going to be good. I think there are enough things in place to hide him defensively, but even then, it's still Enes Kanter at the end of the day. So I guess where I end up is, it's cool, but it's definitely not Al Horford.